The next talk is going to be really fun. It's going to be with two people. One is Varun. Varun is shockingly younger than me. He's 24. He just sold his company to Rocket, and his company's called AfterSell. And then Cody Plofker is the chief revenue officer, chief marketing officer, basically chief everything officer at Jones Road Beauty, which is Bobby Brown's newest makeup brand. So please help me welcome them to the stage. There we go. How we doing?
Good. How about you, Nick?
Good. Okay, so we've got this full audience here. They want to learn everything about upsells, downsells, cross-sells, left sells, right sells. Let's kick it off by talking about upsells, cross-sells, downsells in general. But before we do that, could you guys please introduce yourself as if your uncle were to introduce you at a family gathering?
Interesting. Let me try that. So I'm Varun from Canada. Almost dropped out of school, but didn't. Not a doctor, not an engineer, unfortunately.
Were your parents also disappointed?
Yes.
Mine too.
But yeah, no, we started this company about 4 years ago. AfterSell's the go-to solution for upselling at this point on Shopify. We have over 25,000 brands on the platform, and yeah, just excited to keep going.
I like Nick's intro of me. It was pretty good, so I don't know how much I can add to that. But yeah, I'm Cody. I'm Chief Marketing and Revenue Officer of Jones Road Beauty. So I oversee everything marketing, growth, e-com, finance as well. So always love talking about ways to improve AOV, revenue per session, CAC, all those kind of good things.
Awesome. Varun, could you just give us some background context? Upsells, downsells, cross-sells, right sells, diagonal sells. What is it?
Sure. So the idea is that you're a brand and you're trying to kind of maximize your AOV, right? Especially in this environment today where customer acquisition costs are at an all-time high and they're ever increasing. It's really important to try to make the most out of each shopping session. And one of the most compelling ways to do that is through upsells and cross-sells. So the idea is to, have shoppers add other products to their cart, either, before the purchase or what we often do is after the purchase. And just squeeze that every single cent of profit you can. Really, that's the idea.
Yeah, I feel like every incremental dollar you can makes
Yeah.
it so much more worth it to spend on the paid side. So
Yeah.
Cody, what are some of the common challenges you think brands see around increasing AOV or post-purchase sequences?
Yeah, good question. I mean, just to double down on that, I'm sure everyone in this room is probably having acquisition struggles. Everybody is. It's just like an incredibly challenging environment. And so to do that, there's only so many things that you can do pre-purchase to lower your CAC. As you scale, it's just going to go up. So you really have to focus on how are you going to improve, what's going to happen after they get to your site. How can you improve, conversion rate, AOV, really revenue per session, profit per session. So I think number one is just getting really clear on the metrics you're looking for. Gross profit per session is really the most important one. It's not conversion rate, it's not AOV. Revenue per session is really important, but if you're going to do anything with any kind of discounting, profit per session, and the higher you can get that, the more you can ultimately spend or you can unlock new channels, which is helpful. So I would say number one, biggest mistake brands make is they don't get clear on that. They might do upsell discounting strategies that does improve AOV, does improve revenue per session, but they don't realize they're giving such a margin hit to do that it's actually not worthwhile. Occasionally you'll find some things that will get in the way of conversion, so you have to balance that. And yeah, it's great to bump AOV with bundles, upsells, but if you're adding more friction or making the offer different, you just have to monitor those kind of variables and make sure you have your North Star as profit per session.
Yeah, great point. Just to add on top of that, very much agree with this, and that's why one of the things that we added to AfterSell was a way to track the additional profit generated per order with upsells. Not just revenue, but contribution margin, so you can tell concretely what's happening with your offers.
And you mentioned profit per session. So as you think about you run the entire marketing org there. What does it mean to get another dollar in profit not dollar profit per session, but another dollar in incremental profit per order? What does that mean for you from a traffic driving standpoint or a top of funnel standpoint?
It doesn't feel like a lot, and it's probably unrealistic to get another $1 per order, but we've done a few things with upsell where we've gotten 30 cents, 40 cents per order, and you're like, whatever, like that's not that much, and then you multiply that by the number of orders you get a year, and that's like either some very significant 6 figures bottom line, or that's like that gives you 1 to 2 people of extra headcount, and so it's huge. It's a small amount per order, but if you amortize that over the year, like that's pretty significant.
I'm curious, what are for Jones Road, what are some of the best like upsell, cross-sell tactics that you guys have used, either pre or post-purchase?
Yeah, if we start pre, so upsells on PDP, just kind of thinking about, you could look at like a cart basket analysis, see what kind of people are frequently buying together, but definitely have some upsells on PDP in a few places. People definitely take them, so you'd be pretty strategic about it. In cart, that's a super common one now. I feel like as e-commerce has gotten harder, you're just seeing more and more upsells along different points in the funnel. Like now everybody has in-cart. A lot of people have on PDP, but in-cart are important. You can customize those based on what's in their cart. We've tested things like, for us, 2 works better than having more of them. In checkout, those are getting a lot more powerful. We use AfterSell to power those. We're able to test a lot of things. Again, we've tested, and with 2 is our, but you can test placement. Again, you can test different placements to see maybe lower down has a lower take rate, but it doesn't hurt conversion rate as much. So it's really important to test all those, which is really easy to do. And then post-purchase as well. I was pretty hesitant to do post-purchase for a while because I was like, you wouldn't do that in a store. It's kind of like scammy, but again, as e-commerce has gotten harder, we need to do everything we can. So we've been able to get 30 cents per order back, and really no negative customer experience, no negative brand effect. We're doing that, and then now we're also using network offers with Rock. So once somebody gets to the confirmation page, they're actually able to get like an ad for these like blue chip big companies. What are some examples of the companies on there?
Yeah, there's HelloFresh, Audible, Disney Plus, brands like that.
And I was very hesitant to be honest, but it's added, I think, 40 cents per order, which the number of orders we're going to do is here. It's very significant, and we're actually tracking like retention and repeat rates based on the cohorts that get that and not, and like no difference at all. So like there's been no brand hit from it at all. And so you're not going to get $1 from each of these upsells, but you might get 10 cents per order from this one, 5 cents per order from this, 30 cents per order, and those things are just going to stack and compound, allow you to either hold more bottom line or spend more on acquisition.
I'm curious, I'm sure your brand team was like, yo, what the fuck are all these offers at the end?
Fortunately, our director of brand, it's my wife, so she can't say much. Works out.
How did you counter the brand team or like present that to the company?
I guess it was just me, but I care about that a lot. Like I care about building long term. I care about not doing anything that is scammy. I think there are so many ththings that marketers we perceive to be negative to brand that it's not actually, and as we go about them in our daily lives, these things happen all the time, and it's not pre-purchase, but you go into Sephora, like you're hit with upsells along the way, as my wife is getting makeup in there, like there's so many minis, and like you're completely doubling your AOV almost, it seems like, from those. So like yes, those aren't pre-purchase, but so checkouts are essentially the same thing as what Sephora has. PDP, post-purchase, maybe you don't have that in a store, but as long as you're being truthful about it, you're not doing fake scarcity timers, things like that. You present an option, and as long as people are clear, like they can exit out of it if they don't want it. To me, I see no issue.
Totally. And Varun, I'm curious. So we heard what works well for Jones Road, but what do you see from your side as you sit across AfterSell? Like, what do you see work best from a cross-sell, and a post-purchase standpoint?
Yeah, great question. I would say an overall theme that's important with offers is just testing. That's why we have A/B testing throughout our product. Cart, checkout, and post-purchase. And that's important because I would say like you can't always tell beforehand what's going to work. There's intuition, and sometimes that's right, but sometimes there's just like a significant more profit that you can unlock if you experiment with the copy, the discount, if there's a discount, just the overall positioning of the offers. These are all things that really matter for consumer psychology, and it's important to experiment there.
Cody, I'm curious. So Black Friday's coming up. You guys are going to offer the mini Miracle Bombs, hopefully again.
And don't give it away.
You're probably going to change your email pop-up. You're probably going to change your messaging on the site around Black Friday. What are you going to do from an offer standpoint for cross-sell, upsell, post-purchase? Does that change when it comes to Black Friday?
That's a good question. Probably based on what they have in the cart, but I think even like backing up a second, like this is a time, I think, starting like how, H2. So from July on till like October, it's like testing as much as possible on site. Like we're really going aggressive as we can and, doing as much as we can with no code. So upsells, we're fortunate to be able to do them and test them with AfterSell, really be able to do them. We just want to, squeeze every dollar that we can out of our site. So when we are running, very large amounts of traffic and almost 7 figures a day spend during Black Friday, like our site is as optimized as possible. So I think that's like the most important thing, because hopefully you go into like a code freeze and you're not touching much. But yeah, I think we'll get creative with it. We have a lot of like holiday offerings and things like that. So we'll figure out how we merchandise it. If they're buying one of those, how are we upselling the next one? What's the right price point? So we want to test as much as we can and then just get really thoughtful about like what are we trying to merchandise and which products do we want to push based on what they've already got in their cart.
And when's your code freeze? Like when do you cut off testing?
That's a good question. If I have to give a date, probably October 15th. But yeah, we want to really ramp up and test as much as we can before that. But like, you shouldn't have any tests going and like starting November probably.
Cool. By show of hands, who's ordered a late night GoPuff Munchies order? Oh, you guys are all fucking liars. All of you. All right, well, one thing I always notice is those post-purchase, after I see my order on the map, is all the network offers I get. So Varun, could you tell us a little bit about like, who are these network offers? What are they getting out of us? What do we get as consumers? Just explain the network offers a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure. So as Nick mentioned in the very beginning, AfterSell is now part of a larger company called Rocked. And what Rocked does is they actually show third-party offers, mostly on the confirmation page. So the idea is like you're shopping on Ticketmaster, you're shopping on Best Buy, all these huge enterprises use Rocked, and then they'll show an offer that's relevant and personalized from, for example, Disney Plus or GoPuff or whatever. It's a very much blue chip enterprise company, and what we saw was that our vision from the beginning for AfterSell was to generate additional revenue for merchants, and we did that pretty well, but we couldn't really take it all the way, and that's why we wanted to be part of Rocked, because the reality is like first-party upselling is great, but you can't just do that all the time. Like there's additional money on the table for sure that brands are missing out on that enterprises really are aware of. So we kind of wanted to steal that enterprise strategy and bring it to Shopify, and that's kind of how the whole acquisition came about. And one thing that's pretty interesting here is that the revenue model is unique. It's not that like it's a SaaS business where you as a merchant would pay the technology provider. It's that the advertisers are paying the technology provider, and then half of that revenue is being shared with you as a merchant. So it's really like more of a retail media network in that way. That's what the enterprise term for it. But yeah, it's pretty unique. Like no one else really does this on Shopify, and we think it has a lot of potential.
And what do you say to people who might think this is off-brand, or it comes off as spammy, or it just comes off as intrusive?
Yeah, great question. So a couple things, and I think Cody touched on this as well, but often like the concept of brand is quite nebulous. So, when people say that, we ask like, what does brand mean to you? Like how do you measure brand? And one of the most important metrics I would say is repeat purchase rate or retention rate. And as Cody said, that we've been testing that with tons of brands and we've seen no impact. So, the numbers don't lie there, and I think that's pretty compelling to show that there's no brand impact. Also, like the offers are not just random offers, like they're from well-known brands that, in some cases can actually elevate the merchant's brand itself. So I think those are the two most compelling factors. And then just from like a long-term point of view, like, if there was a brand hit, this business wouldn't really work in enterprise long-term. Like there's a reason that this business keeps going and, growing tremendously every year. Like enterprise brands have full teams dedicated to retention and overall like brand marketing, and the fact that they're willing to use this product and keep continuing with it really speaks volumes.
Cody, I'm curious, what kind of results do you see from network offers in terms of either revenue that you generate, but also like from your customers? Do you get feedback, positive, negative, et cetera?
Yeah, good question. So the cool thing about the network offers is it's post-purchase. It's actually even post-purchase upsell, so you're not jeopardizing any of those. Sometimes you'll see brands, like you'll add to cart and then they'll open up a pop-up to add a bundle or something like that, and yeah, that might increase AOV, but you're going to decrease conversion rate. Because it's post-purchase, there's no chance of either of that, so it's anything that you add is just pure margin. We also have then our after-sell post-purchase upsell first, and then they get to the confirmation page, and it's just like it just sits there. If people click, they get it. I think it's added about 40 cents per order, which again, it's not that much on one order, but you think about that over hundreds of thousands, and ultimately millions of orders, and that's very significant. And yeah, no negative impact. I was definitely worried about that, not gonna lie. But we track repeat rate of those cohorts, see no change. If anything, slightly better, but really no change. And I've gotten no anecdotal feedback. It's also, it's not something that you're broadcasting on the front of your site. It's not like a pop-up that's gonna, everybody's gonna see. It's only, 4 or 5% of your site visitors are gonna purchase, so less people are gonna see it. And it's really not that obtrusive. Somebody could just close out the window if they don't wanna see it. So we've seen really no negative impact at all.
Subtle flex with the 4 to 5% conversion rate there. All right, I'm curious.
On a good day.
Yeah, on a good day. From a tactical standpoint, like, what do you see work best? I know when I talked to Moyes, who started Native, he always said that selling a post-purchase of the same scent of deodorant that you bought in your main order is what had the highest take rate. I'm curious, like, what are some of the tactical tips or hacks that you guys have learned across cross-selling and upselling?
Yeah, for sure. So I would say for consumables, that's a great method. That's like what works for many of our brands. Especially like if you experiment with quantity, for example, like lots of our merchants, they kind of make the default quantity like 2 or 3, so that like when an offer is accepted, it's not just one product or one item. It's significantly more that gets added to the order. I would say another thing that's pretty important, especially if you're a brand with like many SKUs, like Jones Road, is doing multi-product offers. So like you don't have to just show a page with one offer. You can use multiple products on one page, and you can also use our AI to kind of recommend those offers. And then of course you can A/B test performance over time and see what works best.
Cody, anything you'd add?
Yeah, I'll be totally honest. We haven't tested that much with like our post-purchase, but the cool thing about it is you can just set it up, use the AI, use like the recommendation, and even if it's not as optimized as it could be, you're still getting probably like 70% of the value of having it. So now that we have some more team members and we'll have more time, we're definitely going to work with the team on setting up a lot more and really hyper optimizing it. But we haven't really done that much. We think about it like we don't do any discounting, so it's kind of hard to do like, oh, if you add this on, you'll get more, save more. Maybe it would perform better. We just choose not to. But we really think about like what's best for LTV as well, and what products are going to make most sense just from like a customer journey standpoint, and be used together or like complement the product that they already have.
Varun, is this AI?
Yeah.
Is this real, or is this just us?
Yeah, so for our AI, we do 2 things. One is we integrate with Nosto, because they've kind of built out like a pretty solid product just around recommendations. And then we also build on top of Shopify's product recommendation AI. So to answer your question, it is AI.
It's not anonymous Indians.
No, it's not anonymous Indians.
Okay, amazing. Cody, does this help you guys think about like what new products you're going to launch from an AOV standpoint at all, or are there any cool insights you're able to get from AfterSell that help you from a marketing or product standpoint?
It's definitely interesting to see what people are taking. It's not what you would expect, and so it's really cool to see like what products people are taking, what they care about together, and that'll inform not as much new product development, but kind of like how we're talking about things on social, how we're thinking about ads, email funnels, stuff like that, just to see like what people are adding to cart if they already have something or what they're responding to. So yeah, any data point along the funnel definitely helps there.
And has using cross-sells and upsells, has that enabled you to test into new channels that before you couldn't because those incremental, gross profit dollars weren't there?
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely have tested with and without any of these just to see you can just do a holdout and just remove them entirely. And yeah, they're again, each one is not going to add that much. You're not going to add 40% to AOV by adding an in-cart upsell or something like that. But you'll get 5% here, 5% there. Adding all of them, it totally adds up and makes quite a big difference. And AOV would be significantly lower if we didn't have any of the upsells going.
And are there certain channels that do well with take rates for the upsells or cross-sells versus others that don't do as well?
That's a good question. Not something I've looked at, to be honest. What we see is kind of more of like a organic, direct referral is going to have a higher AOV. Some it depends on what we're offering in the ad. If we're just talking about a single product, or it's like a press hit and a roundup, and it's just about Miracle Bomb, they may just get that, and they're less likely. But we try our best with our ad funnels and all of our funnels to really try to weave in multiple products even from the beginning, so that the journey is cohesive, so people know that they should get multiple. Because it's really the name of the game. Is like once you get conversion rate to a certain point, it's like how can you improve and increase AOV as much as possible.
Yeah. Varun, have you seen any channels do specifically like better with, Facebook does better with this, but TikTok doesn't have a high take rate?
Yeah, honestly, I can't comment too much there. I would say like I haven't seen like significant differences. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, last question for both of you. Cody, you've pretty much, actually, yeah, you started this brand with as a bootstrap company. You guys are well over 9 figures now. What advice would you give to a marketer here that's going from 20 million to 100 million? And Varun, for you, for a brand that is doing 30 million, what would you recommend to them from a tactical standpoint, maybe with or without AfterSell?
Yeah. So I'd say with AfterSell, one thing that you can do is kind of work with our team. We have a merchant success team. We can help you optimize your offers and things like that. We totally recognize just like you guys, we're busy too, and we want to make things as easy as possible. So that's really what we do for our largest brands. We work with them and we make sure that they can generate the most revenue from our product. I would say without AfterSell, I would just generally think about how to boost AOV, how to make sure that the customers that you do bring in actually make the most out of your store and help you generate the most revenue to grow your product and your business.
Know your numbers, know your variable cost, know your CAC, know your whole gross margin, where you break even, and then just test things and do everything you can to improve, ultimately your contribution margin. Focus on ads and landing pages and lowering your CAC, but there's only going to be so much you're going to as you scale. If you're hitting gas on ads, it's going to go up. So whoever can spend the most to acquire customers is ultimately going to win. So work on that side more.
Amazing. Thank you both.
Thanks for having us.